Hi, this is Deacon Larry, and this is Renewed. It's always good to have a chance to be renewed, and so welcome back. We have a special guest with us today. Patrick, would you like to introduce yourself?
Patrick McMillan. I work here at St. Theresa as a youth minister here, and happy to be here. I've worked here about a year now. It's coming up on a year. Enjoyed every second of it. It's been a lot of work, but a joy, honestly.
We're glad you're here.
My question is, I guess the first one would be, in the diaconate, how involved is the wife throughout the whole process, throughout the seminary, the classes, and pastoral care?
Okay, very good. So diaconate formation, that process by which one becomes a deacon, really takes place over about a 6-year period here in the Archdiocese of Galveston-Houston. I can't speak to other dioceses. Every diocese has a little bit of a different program. But here in our diocese, the wives often participate. In fact, they're required to participate in part of the programming throughout this 6-year process. We have both an academic and part of a program in which you're taking classes through the University of St. Thomas's Graduate School of Theology. Wives are invited to participate in that, but not required. We also have on Saturdays, once a month, a time in which we're focusing on pastoral and spiritual formation. And so the wives are required to be a part of that. Part of this is because what happens when one becomes a deacon is one is going through a change, oftentimes in who they are and how they present themselves and how they behave at home, at work, in the world, deepening prayer life. And it would be unfortunate for somebody to undergo that change without somebody else, their partner in life, understanding that change, appreciating that change, and perhaps even going through a similar change themselves. We do believe and understand that the central vocation for every Christian is baptism. And so the wives of every deacon candidate, the opportunity for them to grow in their baptismal faith is important. And we want to make sure that that's afforded to the wives as well as to their husbands. Their husbands aren't deacons, they're baptized Christians, disciples of Christ from the moment they enter the program up until the hour of their ordination. Both shared that same fundamental sacrament, and so both need to be enriched and benefit from that. We get tremendous feedback from our wives in terms of that experience, joining their husbands in this process. So I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. And so then I would ask your opinion on having them celebrate in the Mass and having them be more involved.
Okay, very good. So a great question is, what happens then in terms of a wife of a deacon? Her husband's ordained, he's at the altar, he's preaching, he's doing catechetical ministry or works of charity, assisting in the administration of the parish, all the kinds of things that deacons do. Very often, the wives do participate in the academic programming and so are credentialed with an academic background in theology and moral theology and catechetical ministry as well. And so many wives are actively engaged in the life of their parish, again, through those sacramental graces of baptism, able to serve. I use that word really very, very carefully. Karl Rahner, a great German theologian who died in the 1970s, 1980, once said that for the 1,000 years that the diaconate didn't exist from the church, around the year 1000 to the year 1972, Karl Rahner said the diaconate existed in the church through the women, through the exercise of the ministry of women in the history of the church. It's a wonderful statement because it reminds us that the diaconate isn't about position or authority. It's about service. And so what we would say is there's the ordained diaconate and there's the diaconate of the church, just like there is the ministerial priesthood and the general priesthood of the church. So in a way, no woman is excluded from being priestly in her ministry, offering prayers and sacrifice on behalf of others, or diaconal in her ministry, serving others. It's the difference between being ordained to service and living that service through the grace of baptism. Jesus loves both.
Please like, subscribe, or comment below.